We're going to be replacing the ignition coil on this Craftsman 225cc blower. And I've already replaced it, but I'm going to go through the process for somebody else who's not, because it'll save you a whole mess of time if you have a little bit of guidance on this. Or it would have saved me, maybe not you, but it would have saved me. I'm going to use this drill and I'm going to set it on appropriate truck level. Don't over torque your stuff. There are a bunch of 5/32 bolts. You want a 5/32 bit for these bolts. Eight bolts, 9 if you include this one, and that's just to get this first part off. Actually, 2 more. These are longer. These are what holds on. This big bracket over here. See this right now? That'll pull off. Important to pull off because it'll make it a lot easier to get this off. Now that comes off. Still not done. So the next thing you want to do is hold this, hold it with your hand while you remove this bolt, or nut, sorry. To come off, and there are also 2 bolts here. We're not going to take them off yet. You got to pull this spark plug cap off, I guess, before you can take that part off. Okay. Now we've got these 2 and those 2. I'm going to kind of hold it in the back with my hand so it doesn't just fall. By the way, once you reach this point, you have to swap this 5/32 out for a T25 Torx. Now, as it's coming out, you're going to lose that bearing that I just lost there, plus this trigger right here. You're going to want to pull that off of your, whatever you call this, linkage. Just got to kind of twist it around. right here is the ignition coil. You're going to take off that bolt and that bolt. And something to note about this is when you put the new one back on, which you're going to want to carefully. You're supposed to set this gap here. Well, I set the gap, and then when I closed it up and tightened everything up, I could only get it to rotate a little ways before it caught, I guess, the high spot of this and bound up. So when you set that gap, make sure you set it at the high spot of this right here. What I did after I actually bound up is I just removed it and pushed it all the way back. And I wouldn't worry about the gap. As long as you can rotate this freely. I got spark on mine, and I've got probably the biggest gap you can get. So I would probably recommend setting the gap kind of wide, and then definitely making sure that you can rotate this freely without it actually binding up on that right there. So once you've replaced that, it's just a matter of putting it back together, which there's this washer right here that didn't fall off but did last time. Then you got this cylinder type thing right here, and you're gonna make sure that ground right there you'll have had to take off if you took this ignition coil off, which this one's the new one again, because I did this already. It took a long time. And then this little connection right here. So you're just gonna, well, I'll probably go like this because you don't want to lose that cylinder again. It's in there. You're going to find your bearing that you dropped on the ground. That's that bearing. Take it, put it over top. I don't believe it matters which way it goes. I hope it doesn't matter. Stick it back on there. It's over for you. So, you got those Torx bolts. That's what you want to put in here first. Remember, chuck your thing way down so you don't strip out what we're doing here. Big washer. Oh, remember, don't forget your fin. What happened? It's over here. Big washer, lock washer, nut. And I'm going to tighten that nut down. This wrench is way too big for what I really need. If you use one this big, you stand a chance of stripping something because it's overkill. Unless you've got finely calibrated hands to do that with. Alright, so now we're back over here, and I'm going to show you the little fins that I had to grab onto. See that right there? See those fins back in there rotating? What I did is I stuck some piece of metal in there, and do it on that and those right there, the really short fins, because those will be able to hold a lot better. So you're going to hold that like that while you have your wrench back here and you're loosening it up, and that will allow you, if it just spins every time you try to torque it back there, that'll allow you to actually get that nut off if you do it that way. Alright, so we're back over here, and the next thing we want to do is hook our linkage back up. So we're going to get our little finger. And we're going to want to carry this wire over here out to the outside of that. And just kind of place this up here for now. And then we'll stick our linkage through. There's that linkage. This wire should actually go around that little post right there. And now we'll hook our linkage up. Is on. Alright, flip it around. Now this is going to go like that. We put this together. I think that's everything over here. You got to hold that kind of with your thumb or whatever you can use. You're going to want to hold that with your thumb, and you're going to, what I did is I made sure that this wire goes around that post. Otherwise it's going to get pinched between there when you put this piece on. It's kind of tight, so you just got to hold it as best you can while you bring this over. Now, one thing I would recommend is shining the light in that hole, making sure that that wire is not pinched in there. And now we can start bolting it back up. After you get that the fan tightened up with that nut, the thing you should do is pull on this, make sure you can pull it all the way back and that there's no binding. If you can't pull that all the way back, something's bound and you need to take it apart and figure out what it is. You can take the spark plug off. Stick it in here. You're going to hold the bottom to some kind of metal surface, and then you're going to and I saw it, I don't know if you can see it in the video, but there's a little spark you see there, which was the whole problem, which is why I did this in the first place, is I wasn't getting any spark. So that's fixed now. I've got spark. Hopefully this thing still has some life left in it. Don't ask me what the torque spec is for the spark plug. And I found the ignition coil on Amazon for about $27, which, given all the time I spent on it, I would have been better off just buying a new one. But hopefully, if I'd have been able to watch this YouTube video, it would have actually been worth it, because you can do this in about 15 minutes if you have some idea of what you're doing, versus the hour and great frustration that I had last night when I was doing it blind, because it's a little bit different than some of the other blowers that you do have YouTube videos for. There was no YouTube video for this, so hopefully somebody out there in YouTube land can benefit from my experience. Do you think that's it?